All right, so today I'm going to answer a question asked by Andrew. He asked what it was like being at BYU and being gay. Um, First of all, I was lucky in that I didn't really come to terms with being gay until my last semester at BYU. So I didn't really have to struggle with attending BYU and also knowing that I was gay my whole time, my whole 3 years there. So my experience is going to be different from someone who, say, already knew um, going into BYU. But I can tell you a little bit about how that last semester was for me. Um, when I first came to terms with, being gay, I was super paranoid anytime I went on campus. I thought somebody would recognize me, or people knew, or someone would find out, and what that would mean for me if I was going to be kicked out, or um, and it wasn't even it was just because I had decided to start dating, and so yeah, I guess there was a lot of paranoia at first, but that kind of wore off um, as I don't know, became more comfortable. But other things started to become very apparent that bothered me a lot about BYU. And it wasn't that I was blind to it before, it's just that it was kind of right in my face this last semester. Um, and those things are, I guess, the lack of diversity, the lack of confidence that you feel you have in sharing different opinions or thoughts. Um, I don't know. In my mind, a university is the purpose of it is to be an open place where there's a free exchange of ideas happening, and through the exchange of those ideas, we come to learn um, more about ourselves, our worldview, and other people's worldview, and we kind of start to um, I don't know, change how we see ourselves and how we see the world as we hear different perspectives. So at BYU, though, that's limited because if you have anything to say that goes against church policy, um, then it's not something that you can talk about freely, and you can get in trouble for talking about things that ideas that go against church teachings. So that kind of bothered me, like the diversity of ideas as well as just diversity in general. I mean, the average BYU student is Mormon. There's very few that aren't Mormon, and I mean, there are, although a lot of the people there have been to other places in the world, I felt like the lack of diversity on campus was a little bit hindering to, I don't know, learning all that I thought that I could. And I grew up in California, and so I know what the difference is being in a place where people come from all sorts of different places and backgrounds and religions, and I think there's a lot to be said for that kind of atmosphere. Another thing that was hard for me was that being at BYU was what kept me from being honest with everybody that I wanted to be honest with. I came out to my family while I was at BYU, but I felt like I couldn't tell extended family or friends that weren't really really close to me without risking the chances that I'd be kicked out of BYU. So even though I would have preferred to tell everybody and let everybody know and be completely open about it, BYU kept me, I guess, under wraps. And I've always been an honest person, and I like to be honest with people. I don't like the way it feels when I feel like I'm going behind people's backs. And it's the same um, case for leaders at church. Like I don't like to feel that I can't tell them something. And with the honor code at BYU, it kind of, in my opinion, the honor code doesn't do what it should. Um, because this is what happens. Because of the honor code, either people don't talk to their leaders about big issues because that could affect their life. Like I could have been kicked out of BYU and it's my last semester. I wouldn't have been able to transfer my records. I would have put a hold on things. And that is that's something that affects my life in a huge way. And so for something like, homosexuality and saying, I'm gay, and the fact that, even looking to date guys is considered acting on your homosexuality, that could get you kicked out. So, it keeps people from talking to their leaders about spiritual things that they need to fix in their life. And it is, it's not just homosexuality, but like, whatever, chastity problems or things, because they're afraid that they're going to be kicked out of school. Um, the other thing is it only hurts people that are being honest and telling their bishops and leaders about things, unless they get caught. So if people are doing things against the honor code and they just don't feel bad about it at all and don't want to talk about it, then they don't have to and they'll be fine. They'll get out of school, graduate. But for the person that slips up, does something wrong, and they start to have this guilt about it, they go and they start to they tell their bishop, and then they have to suffer all the negative consequences because of that. So I don't see how the honor code helps students spiritually or emotionally. I don't think it's a benefit to their life, honestly. Having said that, there are some things about BYU that are great, and even things that I enjoyed that last semester. BYU is a great school. I think that it's challenging, and if you put the work in, you're going to get good at education. But um, the thing that I found the last semester that I didn't know about before was the BYU counseling services, and I guess originally I would have thought that BYU counseling would be very very conservative and um, going to them with a problem like hey, I'm gay, I'm not sure what to do. I would assume that they would, say, well, you need to, try to change or correct that, or here's what you do. And it wasn't like that at all. I found it really helpful, actually. The counselor that I met with was way understanding, non judgmental, never tried to, suggest that I should change. Um, he seemed genuinely interested in making sure that I found happiness in my life, whatever that was going to look like for me. And um, it helped a lot knowing that the stranger that I don't even know, who grew up Mormon, is married, works at BYU, could be so open and understanding and helpful. And so I was pleasantly surprised by that. And so I don't know if Andrew, if you're at BYU or you're going to BYU, um, there's good things and bad things, and that's going to be the case for whatever school you go to. I think it would have been hard personally for me um, to go to BYU knowing beforehand, like already coming to terms with the fact that I was gay. I think that would be a lot harder because that last semester was challenging for me. But yeah, if you are planning on going to BYU, good luck. It's a great school. Um, you know, you'll have your challenges, but if you feel that it's right, then that's what you should do.